franchise would make a pseudo return though, starting in 2019, receiving 2 HD remakes. This began with Banana Blitz's HD, which, while not being particularly good, was ultimately a fine product. Look, it took a game that was unplayable and made it playable. For modern Sega standards, that's a masterpiece, okay? 2 years later would lead us to Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, a remake of Super Monkey Ball 1, 2, and allegedly Deluxe. I don't know, they shoved Deluxe content into the side mode like a rash. So I reviewed this game back in 2021, just when it came out, and for the first time, I think, in the history of the show, I'm gonna admit I was wrong and change my opinion on a game. For the purposes of this video, it's important we address the elephant in the room, since the elephant is going to slam its trunk into my butt when we get to the main review. I was wrong about Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. Don't get me wrong, at the time I genuinely did think it had a lot of positives. I wasn't trying to like shill or anything, because I still think it has some. The graphical overhaul was actually really well done, honestly, save for a few backgrounds. The new music was well composed, although not always fitting with the world themes. Character stats were removed, and for the first time since the golden age of the franchise, we were able to play as the classic designs of the characters. These weren't perfect models, but I'd take a jank classic model any day over the PP baby aesthetic of Banana Blitz. Now, one of my best friends, Greg Cube, made an absolutely fantastic video on Banana Mania. I absolutely recommend you check that video out. It's gonna go a lot more in depth into anything else I have to say today, because obviously this is not a Banana Mania re-review, but because it's really important to the thesis of this video, I'm going to quickly go over the issues that I had with this game just as a rapid fire round. Look, there was an inherent identity crisis in Banana Mania, as you were playing the levels from 1 and 2, but forced to play them with the jarring physics and gameplay conformity of Banana Blitz. Oddly, there was no multiplayer either. You know, one of the biggest selling points of the GameCube games. On top of that, some of the classic minigames, such as Monkey Target, were borderline unplayable. No, it just was unplayable. Remove the borderline. However, most crucial to ensuring that this game sucked was the fact that Sega had to remove challenge mode, the main meat and potatoes of the goddamn game they were remaking, from the game. I mean, it was technically there, but it was really no different than the story mode style of gameplay. Adding insult to injury, there were no lives, no point to collecting bananas besides to buy costumes that you could buy after 3 hours of gameplay. There were no scores, and while I don't mind if people want to play Super Monkey Ball in this style, I believe it should have been optional instead of unilaterally forced on the players. Super Monkey Ball 1 only had 110 stages. However, the game design philosophy was not centered around just figuring out how to get to the goal and moving on to the next floor. It was more about if you could get good at the game and beat the levels in sequence without gaming over. This change inherently makes a difference between a game you could beat in an afternoon and a game that you spend weeks, months, maybe even years on and off grinding, trying to beat. You try to get good, and it feels genuinely addicting and satisfying, which is a safer alternative to drugs. Super Monkey Ball's original vision wasn't to be a game that you just run through and beat, only to be thrown away next to your copy of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory on your basement floor. It was meant to be a game that you studied, one that each and every floor would inevitably grow to become memorable in your mind, one that challenged the players. It was difficult, and I'm sure it did piss off a lot of kids. Which is good. It's important to teach them early that life sucks. The quickly developed sequel, Super Monkey Ball 2, would take this concept and expand upon it further. Firstly, there was a story mode now, where you would just focus on the levels and beating a traditional game. However, this was only presented as an alternative to challenge mode. Actual challenge mode was the same exact structure as Super Monkey Ball 1, but the difference was you were able to get more lives than you could in the predecessor with the play points. This meant that you still had to get good to some extent, but this also introduced options, because you could now play this game with 99 lives or 1 life. I mean, do you want to play this game with 1 life? Probably not, but I mean, go for it. Live your best life, although that sounds like a horrible life. So yeah, in 2021, Banana Mania just said, screw all of that. You're gonna play this game like it's Banana Blitz, you douchebags. Get to the end of the goal and move on. It's fine. There's an element of replayability, I guess, in the time attack mode and the missions, but the actual arcade vision of the classics was absolutely abandoned. Sega in general seems to have some sort of fear about arcade games in 2024. The rumored Crazy Taxi revival, for example, seems to be completely abandoning its arcade roots for open worlds. And sure, why don't I, as a content creator, go become a firefighter? That will work out great. Banana Mania is kind of a game that it felt painful to sour on and feel worse about over the last 3 years or so. My rose-colored glasses just became clear here. I think today's Banana Rumble video is sort of like my apology and way to rectify that I was way too positive on this game when it came out. I'm trying to do good for this world, and that's clearly by doing monkey ball reviews.